Can I have mental preparedness?
I don't know, can you?
Prepare me mentally for this video. Hi, welcome to Well-Rounded Mama's YouTube channel. If you find this information helpful, like, subscribe, ring the bell, share with your friends. Today we want to talk about how you prepare mentally for having your baby at home. I think we see like 80 to 90% of birth is emotional. It's all mental. Yep. My name's Sherry and this is Sarah. For those of you who don't know who we are midwives here in the Las Vegas area, and Sarah is also a childbirth educator. And so she has written down some ideas of how an individual might mentally prepare for having, I'm not going to say a baby at home or out of hospital, but honestly, these would be good for any preparation for having a baby.
No matter what you choose as far as your education about birth, just surrounding that, all of it should be helping you feel better. All of it should be helping you just wrap your mind around the fact that this is a natural process. I know you've recommended watching animals even have their babies. I think there's a lot of like zoos and stuff that have YouTube videos that you can watch animals having their babies. We are mammals and we have the same ability to have babies just as any other
And we
animal.
very rarely intervene in an animal birth. And it's
true.
Really amazing to watch because you're kind of doing like this. Doing anything. And so it's cool to see how nature steps in every single instance and handles that.
Yeah. So watch birth videos, animal and otherwise, to help you just feel confident in the fact that your body can do this. Doing positive affirmations. We talk a lot about that during like our prenatal care, examining like what some of your fears might be surrounding birth and then seeing how you can flip that into a more positive script. When you're telling yourself lies, like you can't do this, I want you to try to flip that and be like, actually, I can do this. Anything that you have caught yourself saying, right? Like, I don't think I'm gonna be a good mom, or I don't think I can handle the pain. Like, try to change that narrative and say to yourself instead, like, I can handle anything that comes my way. I'm going to be a loving mother, any sort of positive self-speak. Also getting in tune with your body. A lot of times we stay in our minds, whereas in labor, you kind of want to get out of your mind, you kind of want to shelve it, just be in your body while you have your baby. So doing other activities that are similar, where you can just kind of like let go. Dancing, like turning on music and just moving your body and moving your hips and just allowing yourself to just do whatever you're guided to do, because in labor it's very similar. You know, you're going to be moving your hips and making some noises and doing some things that is in your body instead of in your head and in your mind. Like you're not going to think yourself through it. There's no choreography in birth.
And I think that's hard. I think the unknown is so hard for individuals, especially when we feel like we are trying to have some sense of control in our lives. And I think that's why it's so appealing, this idea of being induced on your due date, because you know how to plan and you know what to expect. There is a surrendering to the process that takes place, but you have to be in a safe space in order to surrender to that. A lot of mental preparation takes place by just having conversations with safe individuals that can be that sounding board for you. And so if you have a fear that pops up to you, instead of going, I'm going to pretend this doesn't exist, of having a sounding board. And then what do you need to feel better about that? Is it more education? Is it more videos? Is it more positive self-talk? Is it finding out how a process happens? And so if I have a client come in and go, well, I want to have my baby in the water, but I'm scared, like, will the baby drown? And then we can sit down and talk about the physiology that happens behind what makes a baby take their first breath.
Right. Yeah.
And then it becomes shared decision making. And now you can make an educated decision about whether water birth is a good option for you that you feel safe and comfortable for. Because I do find, especially for second, third, fourth pregnancies, sometimes there's healing that needs to be done from that first experience.
That's true.
And this is an amazing time to heal from those previous experience with a subsequent pregnancy, because you can visit some of the things you did or didn't like about how it happened, even if it went fine. You don't have to hate your first experience, but there could be parts of the experience that you would like to change and be different. Exploring why you felt the way that you did in a safe environment, I think, is so healthy and healing and great.
Absolutely. I love all of that. taking a childbirth class, like any sort of education. We're doing like Zoom classes and things online right now to kind of still make sure that there are some options out there. There are fewer options for childbirth classes right now, but there are some that are online as well. Like there are lots of ways that you can get information, whether it's YouTube or books or, you know, talking to moms who have had babies before. That's how we used to get information. So ask for some happy stories. Happy stories.
And we have an amazing recommended reading because you probably have more time on your hands than you used to. And so there's an amazing resource list when it comes to books. Visit our website. We have a really amazing recommended reading list.
Oh yeah, and we have some birth videos on there as well.
We do. There's this book called Come to Your Senses, and I can't remember who the author is. I'm really sorry about that. But what was great about it was the individual kind of talked about how we can kind of go down this negative kind of avalanche of thought processes. When he was studying, he was watching television, and he noticed that there was the hum to the refrigerator, and that hum of the refrigerator would come and it would go and it come and go. And then he realized that it never stopped humming. It was always there. But what he discovered was our subconscious collects so many thoughts, but when we're in our conscious mind, we can only hold one thought. And how amazing that is, especially when it comes to birth and labor, because there are times when you're present in labor and you are in that moment, have that conscious thought, and sometimes it's your subconscious thoughts that are completely taken over. And if those subconscious thoughts are full of fear and negative thoughts, then that's really essentially why we want to surround you with that positive self-talk. One of the tricks that he gave was to find some white noise, and that white noise would bring you out of that negative avalanche of negative self-talk. And the first time I ever utilized that in my life, my husband had lost like a huge contract. We had this beautiful home. It was like this 4,500 square foot home on 2 acres, and we loved our life. And then he lost this big contract, and so we moved home to where family was. My son was having grand mal seizures, and so we felt like we needed family support. So we came home, and my husband was working for my dad, and I was cleaning some houses on the side to kind of get us through that hard time. Prior to doing that, I had made all my meals from scratch. I even made bread from scratch. I was so nerdy, but it's what I felt constituted a good mom, I guess. And so I was coming home from cleaning a house, and I was sitting in the Taco Bell drive-through, and my thought was, oh my gosh, I hate that I'm cleaning houses for a living to earn extra money. And in and of itself, that's not a horrible thought. Like, okay, so what do we want to do different, right? And my avalanche went into, I'm such a loser. I'm such a terrible mom. I'm leaving my children, and I'm putting on all this weight right now. And this is why I'm in a Taco Bell parking lot. And it went from this, I don't want to clean houses anymore, to I am a disgusting, lowest of the low
disappointment
person. And I was like, oh my gosh, I took this workshop. It just got me out of that for a moment, and I just listened to the cars. I rolled my window down and I listened to the car engines around me, and I just took a minute and I took a few deep breaths, and it was enough for me just to kind of stop that avalanche of negative self-hatred that I was doing in that moment. And I think that would benefit all individuals to just, the moment you realize what you're doing to yourself, stopping in that moment and then filling that with, okay, so I don't like the way things are currently going. What could I do? And what amazing things am I doing right now? And I think it's why a lot of individuals who keep gratitude journals, I think journaling is a really great thing to do in pregnancy, something great to look back on, something great to share with your children, but it's a really great way to be your own sounding board, because a lot of times you know what you need more than anybody else. And so sometimes being your own sounding board by writing in a journal and making sure that it is full of the amazing things that you have going for you and that you're doing in your life, I think are really great. So we're so grateful that you joined us, and we're so grateful that you are looking for getting in a good mental headspace for having a baby. We want you to feel supported and loved, and that you have places that you can go. Thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, ring the bell if you would like to see us again. We will continue releasing these videos each week. What was your greatest fear when it came to having a baby, and how were you able to overcome it? Share it below and help other members of the community that are watching these videos. You might have just the thing that they're waiting to hear.
Women used to squat by trees, as you've said it before.
That was my whole inspiration for having my first home birth.
There you go.
So have I told this story? Is it bad when you're recording videos and you are repeating stories like an old lady already?
No, the stories are the best.
Oh, no, they're not.
I feel like they're